Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Rabbi shrah sadri wa yassir li amri wa halul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidni ilma. Okay, now how is everyone? Enjoying your learning? Yes? Okay, today we are here to solve one more paper, the most recent one, that is May-June 2024, 0478 paper 22. The paper name is Algorithms, Programming and Logic. First of all, you need to know that in the basic instructions, the paper is of 1 hour 45 minutes duration. You have to answer on the question paper. No additional materials are needed for your paper. Besides this, the instructions, you have to attempt all the questions. There's no choice for you. Then you have to use a black or a blue pen. You may use an HB pencil for any diagrams or graphs. You have to write your name, center number, and candidate number in the boxes at the top of the page. Do not use an erasable pen. Please do not even carry it with you to the examination hall. Do not write on any barcodes. Calculators, unluckily, are not allowed. So definitely you have to be very much well-versed with your calculations so that you are able to get the tasks done accurately. Paper is of 75 marks. The number of marks for each question or part question are shown in the brackets. So there's no mark awarded for writing the brand name of software packages or hardware. So please refrain from, even if you know it, fine. We are also telling you this because of our learning, but otherwise in the examination, we are not allowed to write it in as a part of our answer. So please refrain. These are the simple instructions that you need to remember. Okay, now the very first question. Tick one box to identify a method used to design and construct a solution to a computing problem. Now see, this is your first thing. Tick one box to identify a method used to design and construct a solution to the problem. This is very interesting. Is it analysis? Definitely not. Is it coding? Because here we are talking about the method used to design and construct a solution to the problem. Definitely it's not. It's flowchart? Yes. Seems closer. Is it testing? Definitely not. So it means that the final answer that we have obtained is C. So you will simply tick this one, and in this manner, you will be able to score 1 out of 1 very easily. Any issues? Understood? Okay, now that's great. Now let's move on to the next question. Question number 2. Now question number 2 is 4 logic functions and 5 standard symbols for logic gates are shown. Okay. Question number 2 once again. 4 logic functions and 5 standard symbols for logic gates are shown. Draw one line to link each logic function to its standard symbol. Not all standard symbols will be used. Now see, this is logic gates question. I think we can very quickly recall, by the way. Yes, can we do it very quickly? Now, AND gate. Which one is the AND gate? Definitely this one. Fine, you simply draw this one. And you remember that not all symbols will be used here. Which one is the exclusive OR symbol? Definitely this one, that's correct. Which one is the NAND symbol? Not AND. Yes, definitely this one. And which one is the OR symbol? Definitely this one. So in this manner, if you have drawn the lines properly, you will be able to score 4 out of 4 in hardly a minute. If you have been aware of all the symbols and the use, then definitely it will be a very easy task for you. By the way, what about this symbol? Which one is it? Just asking. Okay, that's great. Wonderful, Ali. Is the symbol for NOT gate. That's wonderful, really great. Any issues? Okay, now let's move on to the next question. Question number 3. Identify 3 different tasks in the analysis stage of the program development lifecycle. Now, PDLC, analysis stage, if you recall. Exactly, that's C. It's they're asking 3. It means that abstraction. Now you're performing the analysis. So definitely, what will you be doing there? In the beginning, in question number 1, they have asked about the design phase, and here they're asking about the tasks that are performed in analysis. So that will be abstraction, decomposition, identification of problem, or identification of requirements, or requirement specification. So if a student has written any 3, like definitely abstraction, decomposition, we have been repeating quite often. So these terms are you're like very much you're familiar with. And then identification of problem or problem identification. Similarly, requirement specification. In this manner, you can easily score 3 out of 3 if you have understood and recalled each and everything in a short span of time. So see, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 marks are hardly needing your maximum 5 minutes. Okay, question number 4. A program needs to make sure the characters input for a product code meet these rules. And what are the rules? The product code is 6 characters in length. The first one is dealing with the characters in length. Second one is the first 2 characters must be PD. And the last one is the last 4 characters must be a number in the range 1000 to 9999 inclusive. Now you can see, by the way, identify 3 validation checks and state how each check would make sure the product code met one of these rules. Now this is the question, means this is the question for validation. By the way, just very quickly, I think we are very much clear about the term length. So length means here they are talking about what? Yes, what are they talking about here? Exactly, that's so simple. It's a length check. And what is this length check doing? This is ensuring that the length of the field is going to be 6 characters. And that is what you are supposed to mention here. The first check that is required to be written here is your length check, as you can see. And length check to ensure that the product code entered is 6 characters in length. And that again is the hint given to you. Then secondly, the second check that they want, the first 2 characters must be PD. Now I hope that we all can recall. By the way, if you cannot recall, I suggest you that there's a video that is available on this topic of validation. So you can go through this for reference, and inshallah, that will help you in recalling that validation video also. And that validation checks and verification also, fine. So format check. And this is to ensure that the first 2 characters of the product code entered are PD. Now be very clear. When we studied format check in general, but here, since it is dealing specifically with the letters PD, so in the explanation, in the reasons stating the reason, you have to mention the material from your question. So that is very, very important. If you really want to score well, if you really want to show that you are a real CS person, then be very clear that these simple tips you have to follow. Like you have written format check, fine, but don't write down the reason as a general statement. You should be taking the material from your question, and the question says to ensure the first 2 characters must be PD. So that is what is going to be there to ensure the first 2 characters of the product code must be PD. Fine. Okay, now the last one, the last 4 characters must be a number in the range 1000 to 9999 inclusive. And definitely when you have 2 number values given, it means it is going to be the range check to ensure that the value of the last 4 figures of the product code entered is between 1000 and 9999 inclusive. So in this manner, you can easily score 6 out of 6. 3 marks for telling the right, identifying the correct validation check, and 3 marks are going to be for explaining them, for stating the right reasons for that. Any issues? Okay, that's great. The program design will include a pseudocode algorithm. Okay, now here they're talking about the designing of a pseudocode for solving the problem. Assume that the product code is stored in the variable product. Write the pseudocode to make sure that the product code is 6 characters in length. By the way, just pay attention to the question itself. Write pseudocode to make sure that the product code is 6 characters in length. How can we do it? Yes, how can we do it actually? Isn't it something that we have done? It means, see, first of all, it's the string. And here it means that, in other words, which topic will you be recalling? That's great. Wonderful, Ahmed. It's going to be your string functions, the string functions that we have done. And they've specifically mentioned, if you recall, string functions that we have done, length. So it means here they want you to write down the simple code to score 2 marks so that the length of the product code is going to be 6 characters. So just I suggest you, by the way, if you can recall, we have done these activities in the class for validation of the input data, and something similar to this one we have done in the class for the, I guess for the password. So here, the same activity, repeat, input product until length of product equals to 6. Like till the time the length of the product does not become 6, keep on taking the input from the user. Easy? Isn't it? Okay. Write the pseudocode to make sure that the first, now this is the second part of your, the sub part of question number B. Write pseudocode to make sure that the first 2 characters of the product code are PD. To make sure, again, it's dealing with the checking that the value is going to be entered as PD in the beginning. So again, the same function that we have learned, substring. So again, repeat and until. Your input is there, but still, see, in this one, we have used length because we are just checking the length. The length of the product is going to be 6. Here, we are using substring. Substring, if you recall, from where the variable is product. How many values to be picked is going to be 2 and starting from location number 1. So this is what we have mentioned, until substring brackets product, comma 1, comma 2 equals to PD. Like till the time this is not entered, the user will be prompted to keep on entering the value. I think this is very much simple, isn't it? Okay, that's yes, Arit, thank you very much for raising this question right now. But actually, exactly, we can do it with while also. Perfect. But why not do it with repeat, isn't it? It's simpler, isn't it? So why now? Because if you remember, with while we have to take input twice, because while is, by the way, what kind of structure is a while loop? If you can recall. Exactly, it's a loop structure, fine. But in which category does it fall? It's a preconditional loop. That's wonderful. So you keep on recalling these terminologies for your own benefit. And by the way, again, if you are still facing any problem, anyone is facing any problem, then please watch the video for loop structures. That will benefit you a lot. Okay. So why not do it with repeat until? It's a 2-mark question, fine. Okay, now. This question, so simple, just pay attention. A high-level programming language makes use of arithmetic, Boolean, and logical operators. State how each type of operator is used. Give an example statement in pseudocode for each one. First one is arithmetic, second one is Boolean, and third one is logical. Now, by the way, here, just a few examples are written here. You can take any example. First one is arithmetic. By the way, why do we use arithmetic operators? And which are the arithmetic operators, by the way? Yes, exactly. That's great, Ali. These are plus, minus, multiply, and divide, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, or even the power, exactly. So here, what we can do is, it's used in calculations. I mean, why do we use arithmetic? definitely for calculations. And just an example written here, a student can write any other example that will be considered as a right example also, just to make you comprehend this type of question is going to be answered in this manner. I've written this example. If, for example, okay, you want to share your example, can I write it down in chat? Now that's perfectly okay. You can simply say A equals to result equals to num1 into num2. That's perfectly okay. But do not forget to use the assignment operator, okay? Any example, it will be acceptable but it should be something that is dealing with any of the operators, arithmetic operators that we have already studied. Fine. Any issues with arithmetic operators? Okay, now next one is Boolean. And as we know, it is used for operations with true or false values. Now, again, just an example. If age is greater than or equal to 13 and age less than or equal to 19, just to make you comprehend, so that we can connect it with our programming. So actually, the operator is and. By the way, along with and, can we recall the other operators? That's great, wonderful. It can be and, or, and not. So if another student has written an example with which is involving or, that's perfectly okay. Fine. The third student wrote an example with not, that's also perfectly okay. But what we need to be very much cautious about is the Boolean operators should be remembered, and they are used for operations with true or false values. Now, logical. Used in comparisons, or you can say logical operators are used in conditional statements, or they are used in selection statements. By the way, we have been talking about the conditions repeatedly, and it's just an example, if number less than 0. So this is very simple question. You've understood it well, can easily score 6 out of 6 again in a very short span of time. Not a difficult thing at all. Easy? Maybe move ahead? Okay, that's great. Totaling and counting are standard methods of solution. I think this is what we have been doing repeatedly, totaling and counting, Normally in the class, we write it down so that we can recall these terminologies. These are actually embedded in our memories. Numbers are input. The number 9999.9 is the last number to be input and is ignored. I'm repeating, numbers are input. The number 9999.9 is the last number to be input and is ignored. Write an algorithm in pseudocode to total the numbers input and to output the total. You do not need to validate the input. Now, please see for yourself. They've very clearly mentioned the concept that is supposed to be used here is totaling, exactly. And here we have to total the numbers that are input. By the way, is the have we been told that how many numbers are supposed to be input? Is the number of iterations known to us? Exactly, no, they are not known to us. It means that can I do it with for loop? That's great, wonderful. Definitely, since we are not aware of how many iterations, that's why for loop is not to be used here. Then what are the other options then? Okay, now that's great. We are now left with either while or repeat. The conditional statements are supposed the precondition loop or the postcondition loop are supposed to be used here only. Definitely, conditional statements will be needed in some situations or the other. But here, my first question was for to be used. No, I hope that we all are clear why. Then, which is left then? Conditional loops are supposed to be used. Either we are going to use while or we are going to use or repeat. Now, let's do it. First thing, you can see how will you be marked? You need to actually talk about the line for totaling. This is, again, if you have entered the line properly in the right position, you will definitely be able to score 1 mark. And then the rest of the 3 marks are divided, like if the student has input more than one number. If the student has written initialize the variable total with the 0, if the condition is mentioned properly and output is going to be outside the loop, please see, this is why we keep on asking you questions. Just ask yourself, do I need that particular thing to be done repeatedly? Yes, inside the loop. If it's needed once only, it should be outside the loop, like initializing. In this case, do we need initializing to be done repeatedly, or do we need it once? Exactly, here in this case, we need initializing once only. That's why it is going to be outside the loop. And on the contrary, if we talk about the output, that is going to be outside the loop again, because that is again needed once only. I mean, that doesn't make any sense to be so that it is displayed repeatedly. That's why be very cautious. Now, how is it being done? You can see for yourself, the ones who are in favor of using while, they can work with while. Those who are more comfortable with repeat, they are also okay. Now, this is all like your choice. Whichever you are comfortable with, can use either, because they didn't mention any particular condition for us. So you can see total equals to 0, input value, while value is not equal to 9999.9. It means that here you can see the condition is written before. Okay, now just to make you comprehend, I've written it like this. Okay, now otherwise this is the symbol for not equal to. Then total goes to total plus value, and then input value again. So you can see here in while, the input is twice. First one is outside the loop and second one is inside the loop. And then end while, so that it is going to repeat with the input value again, checking is it not equal to 999.9. The moment a person enters this value, it means that the loop will terminate. And this is what the requirement was. The number 99.9.9 is the last number to be input. So that was the requirement for me. On the contrary, another student who is more comfortable with repeat, he can do it this way. And you can see for yourself, repeat has lesser lines, isn't it? Because again, exactly, remember, when you talk about the inputs to be taken in while, that has to be twice, for especially for like these sort of tasks. And then second time also, if you remember that if you don't take the input again, then it will make your loop a never-ending loop. Fine. So by the way, just for making you comprehend, I've just color coded in such a manner, the values that are same are actually written here. By the way, okay, is it correct? Okay, that's wonderful. I've actually done this so that I can actually make you, okay, that's great, wonderful. I'm really very happy that you have identified it accurately, Ali, that here in this, we are going to have the input first. It means that you're okay with debugging. I'm really very happy for you. Input value is going to be first and totaling will be done later. Fine. So here totaling will be done later and input will be done first. So input value, total equals to total plus value until value equals to 999.9. And again, here you can see output total is outside the loop. So the common things I have mentioned with a purple color so that you can see for yourself that this is a common thing. Otherwise, the differences in repeat and while are mentioned. Is it making sense? Proper initializing, a proper line for totaling, because this is extremely important line. Like if you have, remember, this is the line that we have learned for totaling. So this is extremely important. Do not forget it. This is the line, most important line. And you can see for yourself the position of the variable for totaling. See here, since input is already taken, that's why it is going to be total immediately. But on the contrary, as in pointed by Ali, that's great. Input will be before the totaling is done. Are we clear? Okay, that's a very, can say a very good discussion regarding the totaling concept. Now let's move on to the next one. Now the next one is counting. Isn't it easy also? Now, just one thing, since they've mentioned us that we are not supposed to be worried about validation, so please, validation are not at all required. Fine? Understood? So even if you are doing it, you will not score any mark for that. You can see for yourself in the marking criteria, they have not mentioned any mark validation because this was not their requirement. So even if you are doing it, that will not gain you any mark at all. I suggest you that you better apply all your like pseudocode skills, all your programming skills in the last 15-mark question. And again, the same, repeating, you have to be cautious that whatever is required, that is supposed to be done. Please, okay? Now, part B, are we ready? Write an algorithm in pseudocode to count and output the number of input values that are greater than 100. So simple. I think we have done something similar, isn't it? Yes, exactly, but we have done it before because we were working on a count control loop. We were working on a set number of iterations. But here you can see, here they're just saying that we have to output or count the total, count and output the number of value that are input and that are greater than 100. You do not need to validate the input once again. And again, you can see how are you going to be marked. First, 1 mark is going to be for adding 1 to counter. Extremely important thing. Again, the same, I'm repeating the same as we talked about earlier for totaling. Same case goes here. Again, that is a very important thing for counting. This is extremely important. Correct use of selection. If current value is above 100, then what is supposed to be done? 1 mark for each point, like maximum 2, like there are 2 marks for you have to one to counter because that is counting process, and the correct use of if. So in this manner, you will definitely be able to score 2 marks. And what about the rest of the 2 marks? Input more than 1 number, 0 initializing before the loop again, correct use of loop including terminal condition, and output value of counter after loop. Now this is extremely important. Again, a few variables taken as per your understanding. You can use any other variable also. Yes, that's perfectly okay. That exactly that we have been talking about, just an example, but otherwise a student can use any other variable. That's perfectly okay. But remember, same variable to be used in the right context. Otherwise, you will say, why my marks are lost? It's because of these simple mistakes that you have, these blunders that you have made in your answers. Okay, counter equals to 0. Again, the same is done with both so that you can comprehend whichever is easier for you. You can do accordingly. Counter equals to 0, input value. While value is not equal to 999. And then we can see the word do also. Fine. While value, the input value is not equal to 999.9 do. And what are we doing? If value greater than 100, that was the requirement. Above 100, then counter equals to counter plus 1 end if. And input value again, end while. And output the value of counter after the loop. Just go through this. Any questions you can ask? I hope that you all have already done it yourselves also. Just very quickly check your answers with this code. Are they matching? Okay, now they are matching. That's great. It means that you have recalled and understood the concepts of performing using while and repeat whenever we have to work for in a sort of a condition. Okay, understood? So in repeat, you can see repeat, input value again taken immediately. Then we are checking the value of value, variable value. If this is the case, then counter equals to counter plus 1, end if, until value goes to 99.9. Like till the value of input that is given is not becoming 999.9, keep on inputting. Like for example, if assume that the first input was 55. 55 equals to 999.9 is 9999. 4 times 0.9 is false. It's not meeting the criteria. So it will re-input. And again, it will go for a second check, checking the value once again. So I hope that we all remember the post condition loop for the one that is we have written here, repeat, is going to iterate till the condition is false. It stops working when the condition becomes true. Isn't it? Okay, that's great. I can see it's a 4-mark question. Now, question number 7. An algorithm has been written in pseudocode to find and display the maximum and minimum values in an array of 1,000 positive numbers. Now you can see an algorithm has been written in pseudocode to find and display the maximum and the minimum. Now, isn't it great that they have handled all the methods of solution in this paper? Everything is covered. Like earlier, they talked about validation in such a nice style. Then they asked us about counting and totaling, and then they're asking about the maximum and minimum. And every single thing that we have learned till now is applied here, is to be applied here. So isn't it? Are you enjoying your paper solving? Okay, I'm really very happy if you say that we are enjoying paper 2. That is my that is my great pleasure. I feel great pleasure in this. Now you can see max equals to list of 1, min equals to list of 1. This is actually the very first thing. Already the data is stored there in an array, and we are simply storing the value of the first location of the array, the value of the first index of the array in the variable max and the min. Same value will be moving to both max and min, the way we have done it. Now we are going to iterate from 2 to 1,000. If list of counter is less than max, then max equals to list of counter, and if list of count is less than min, then min equals to list of counter. And while next counter, output, maximum value is max, output, minimum value is min. That's done. Now let's see, this is what I have been doing with you in the class. Give a line number for each of these type of statements. Assignment, by the way, which lines do you think are performing the assignment? I mean, isn't it easy? Yes, exactly. Line number 1, line number 2, assignment is taking place. Where else? Line 6 exactly, and line number 10. So since they've asked us to give a line number, be cautious. Here they say a line number mean that they want you to write down just one value. Do not write more than one, please. Even if giving you a very useful tip. For example, you have mentioned the first value as a wrong answer. Like I by mistake wrote line number 3, and all other answers were correct. Like I wrote 2, 6, 10, but the first value I wrote was 3. Please remember that they will only take the first answer. They will ignore all the other answers. So your you will lose a mark for that. So just read the question, take your time, read. I suggest you, if you think that you need, maybe you think that you can forget it, to underline this. Perfectly okay. Highlight it, underline it. Not highlight, definitely here I can highlight you for you, highlight for you, but in the paper, underline so that you will remember. Here they need you to write down a line number only, not a lot of line numbers. Okay, assignment, lines 1 to 6 and 10. They all are containing assignments, so we can mention any. Selection statement, by the way, selection statements, where are they? Selection statement, exactly. If it's in line number 4, it's in line number 8, exactly. But if a student wrote line 7, or if the student wrote that's perfectly okay. They will take this as a correct answer also. Okay, that's great, wonderful. It means that you have started solving the second part also, that was dealing with the finding of the errors. That's really great, Ali. I'm really very happy with your learning. That's wonderful. Now let's see, what is the third one? Iteration. Which line is iteration actually? Like exactly, a student can write line 3. That is what is a preferred one. But in case a student wrote next, that will be accepted also. Iteration statement is for to next only. That is present in lines 3 and 12. A student can write 3. Another student can write 12. They will accept both of the answers and the correct answers. See, so simple. Now, let's see. Identify the line numbers of the 3 errors in pseudocode and suggest a correction for each error. Are we ready for that? Yes, can we do it? Okay, you want to do it? I've already told you for count equals to 2000 is accurate. This line is not having a problem because max and min are already storing the first value. So that is why definitely here it has to start from location number 2, from index number 2. So from 2 to 1000 is perfectly okay. Line number 3 is not a problem. Okay, fine. You have identified, fine, great. Line number 4. Okay, that's also wonderful. I mean, really, really. Okay, now what you think is, let me circle those lines, or let me talk about this line. This line has a problem, and the problem that you have identified is somewhere here. Fine. Okay, fine. Line number 8. What is the problem here in line number 8? Exactly, that's right. See, counter, 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 but here it says count. That's wrong. And again, counter is here. Again, counter is here. By the way, is writing variable like counter compulsory in next? If, for example, they have not mentioned, will that be treated as an error also? Exactly, that's great, wonderful. Remember, writing variable with next is optional. I mean, this is what we have already covered in our loop structure presentation, in which we have learned that writing variable with the next is optional. Now, what about the third error? Okay, that's great. If identified while I was reading the question, line number 11, the end while is not supposed to be used. It has to be end if. That's great. Wonderful. So let's see what the answers are. Identified accurately. Let's see whether our answers are matching or not. Fine. Line number 4, greater than is to be used instead of less than. Correct. Line number 8, count should be counter. And line number 11, end while should be end if. So very correctly identified by all of us. That's wonderful that we have done it so quickly. And but do not get disturbed that it's an array. It means this and that. No, no, not at all. Okay, next question. Question number 8. A logic circuit is to be built to control the opening for safe use to store money. There are 2 keys A and B and a time switch C. Now, do not get confused. It's actually a logic circuit, but it's handled a little differently, but it's very, very simple. Three values here, the 2 keys A and B, representation, and a time switch, which is a C. Just 3 variables. The safe can only open if both keys are used. Now, let me underline so that you can concentrate on this. Do it exactly in the same manner in your paper also. If both keys are used, you can actually go for this one also. You can underline it, or you can do anything with it also. And now be very careful. It's and. The time switch is off. See, this is what. If both keys are used, both keys means A and B are used, means definitely they are on. And the time switch is off, means it is a 0. Okay? Key A not used, a 0. Key A used, 1. Key B, same situation for time switch. Switch off is a 0, switch on is a 1. And safe X will open with a value of 1. Now be careful, the variable is supposed to be mentioned when they talk about this situation. No worries at all, something similar to this one. We have done it. So here you can see there are 3 marks. How will they be assessing you? Here 1 mark for writing down X equals to. See, now, if both keys are used, means both keys are used, means both keys have a value of 1. That's what you can say. A equals to 1 and B equals to 1. You can simply say A and B. You can write it in brackets. That's perfectly okay. They will accept. So X equals to is going to be carrying 1 mark because this is what they want to be mentioned also. A and B, and again, and just remember, and time switch is off, time switch is C, and C equals to a 0 or a not value, and not C. So in this manner, if you have identified the variables properly, you have written them properly, you will easily score 3 marks. So you have written this statement, write the logic expression for this problem. So that was the requirement. So simple. Isn't it easy? Okay. Now, truth table, I think we can do it very quickly now. A 3-input ABC. So it means first one is A and B. You can see A and B, 0 and 0, a 0, 0 and 0, a 0, 0 and 1, a 1, 0, sorry, a 0 and 1, a 0, 0 and 1, a 0, 1 and 0, a 0, 1 and 0, a 0, 1 and 1, a 1, and 1 and 1 is a 1. All others are going to be your false values, zeros. Then not C, reversing, simple. 0 becomes a 1, 1 becomes a 0. So you can see this is going to be for the not C. Fine, any issues? And lastly, we are supposed to work with an and A, like A and B and not C. So 0 and 1 a 0, 0 and 0 a 0, 0 and 1 a 0, 0 and 0 a 0, 0 and 1 a 0, 1 and 0 and 0 a 0, 1 and 1 a 1, 1 and 1 is a 1 and 0 is again going to be a 0. It means that in reality, what we will get is this value. Our truth table will be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0. Any issues? Easy? Okay. Now, flowchart. Now, do not get confused at all. It's very simple. Very, very simple, because mashallah, now you are well versed with the programming. You're not okay. You're now okay with the arrays also. So no worries at all. Okay, Ali? The flowchart represents an algorithm. Start, A equals to false, B equals to 1, is list of B. And list of B means this is at the moment list of 1. Greater than, now this is your list. The array name is list. It has 5 locations. And you can see they are containing this data 15, 17, 25, and 9. So this is what you can see here. This is what is present. And let's solve it together. Fine. Although it is done, fine. But let's redo it. Fine. Are you okay? Yes. Now, start. A equals to false. As you can see, A is false. And B equals to 1, B equals to 1. That is what we have written here. And these are my data items. Already mentioned, list of 1 is 15, list of 2 is 17, list of 3 is 20, list of 4 is 5, and list of 5 is going to be 9. Is list of B greater than list of B plus 1? Is 15 greater than 17? Yes, I'm just checking. Is 15 above 17? The condition is false. Exactly, the condition is false. So definitely, it moves here. No. What are we doing? T equals to list of B means T will hold the, now see, T will hold list of B means list of 1. And this 15 will move here. Then list of B equals to list of B plus 1. Please remember the sequence. We are just going to move the value of the second in here. Like this is going to be checked. And this will be swapped around. And here you can see this will be moving here. Like this value will be moving from here to here. And then this 15 will come from here to here. In this manner, the swapping has been done. See, T equals to list of B, and 15 goes here. Then this location becomes empty. So 17 that was present in B plus 1 location will be moving to the first location. And thirdly, the second location will now be getting the data from the variable T. See, these 3 lines, these 3, can say processes in the sequence are very, very important in this whole process. And then we are talking about A equals to true, and then B equals to B plus 1. So you can see the value of A has become true, the value of B is increased by 1, and it becomes what? It becomes 2, exactly. Now, is B equals to 5? No, it moves up. Now it is going to compare second value, which is now 15, with the next value. Now, see, now the comparison will take place between 15 and 20. Now, the 20 is the same. All of the values are the same. So now it is going to be comparison between 15 and 20. Is 15 less than 20, greater than 20? Again, you can see condition is false. So it moves again here. The same process repeated. 15 moves here, 20 changes the position, and 15 comes back. The value of A is still true. And then you can see P is increased by 1. It becomes 3. Is B 5? No. It moves up. It checks now the value of 15 with 5. Is 15 greater than 5? Yes, exactly. So you can see, since the condition is true, so it simply moves here and there is no comparison being done. Look, you can see comparison done, but there's no swapping being performed. And you can see this line is left completely empty. And then we move here, B equals to B plus 1, the value of B becomes 4. Then is B equals to 5? No, it moves up. Now you can see, now it is going to now compare 4th and 5th values. Now again, it will be between 5 and 9. 5 was here, 9 was here. So is 5 greater than 9? Condition is false. Now you can see 15, 17, then 15 was compared with 20, swapping done. Now 15 was compared with 5, no swapping was done. That's why this line is empty. Then between 5 and 9, again the swapping was done, and there was 5 here. Okay, and then 5 has come here, the value of 9. Now the comparison was now done between these two, 5 and 9. 5 greater than 9, condition is false. It became that the condition is false. It moves here, perform the same activity, perform the same function, and the swapping has been done for these two values. Any issues? And the value of A is still true. Now the value of B becomes increased by 1, becomes 5. Is B 5? Yes. It moves here. Is A true? Yes. Is the value of A true? Yes. So it moves up once again. By the way, this is a nested loop. That's great, wonderful. And by the which process is being repeated here? By the way, can we do other activity? Isn't it something similar to what we have done earlier? Like I think twice or thrice we have done this type of question, isn't it? Exactly, the one that we have done earlier for the specimen paper also. That's wonderful. That's great, Ali, if you remember it. So again, you can see it's going to be, is A false? Yeah, A will be false. The value of B will be 1. And then is list of B, which is now, can say, what is present here now? The value, the last values are 17. So it is now going to compare this value. 17 is greater than 20. No, condition is false. So definitely the two values will be swapped around. 17, 20, it were present like this. So the values will be swapped around, and you can see it becomes here. And 17, and then the value of A become true. B goes to B plus 1. The value of B was increased, became 2. Now it checked once again. Now the value of 17 was greater than 15. Condition was true. So it moved here. The value of B was increased. So here you can see there's no comparison being done in this situation. Any issues with this? Something similar. Yes, exactly. We have done it. And which process is being done here? Will we be able to manage it? Yes? Yes or no? Okay, that's great. Wonderful. Now just very quickly do it. Have you understood it now? Any issues? Can we move further? Okay, now. This was a 5-mark question, and you can see for your convenience, there's 1 mark for each columns A, B, and T. 2 marks for columns list 1 to list 5. All the entries are correct or not. So definitely this is how And 1 mark is for columns list 1 to list 5 with 1 error. So this is how they are going to assess you. Part B, describe what the algorithm represented by the flowchart is doing. What is this algorithm meant to do? Exactly, sorting, exactly. And see, there's 2 marks. It's a 2-mark question. So if the student wrote sorting the data in the array, he will score 1 mark only. Then you need to mention that what is the order. So that is going to grab you 1 more mark. So sorting the data in array in descending order. That will give you 2 out of 2. Easy? Okay, question number 10. The last question, your favorite one exactly. A television subscription service has a new database table named contract to store details of their subscribers' contracts. The table contains these fields: contract number, that is the contract number, for example, CT567, months, the length of the contract in months, for example, 6, be very cautious, the values, end date, the date the contract finishes, for example, 30th November 2024, news, the news service, yes or no, movie, the movie service, yes or no, sport, the sports service, yes or no, junior, the children's service, yes or no. Any issues? It has these fields. Now, identify the field that will be the most appropriate primary key for this table. Definitely, it's contract number. Okay? Complete the table to identify the most appropriate data type for these fields in contract. See, contract number, paying attention to this, you can see it's going to be basically a text value or an alphanumeric. Okay, fine. Although it seems to be string, but here remember in databases we use either text and alphanumeric. And I've been very specific about this earlier also, that we need to be very cautious about this. So text or alphanumeric, I better suggest you that you take these two only for the string data type strikes you perfect. I'm perfectly okay with what strikes your mind. But when it comes to writing, just take whatever is written here. Months. Any issues now? May I move ahead? Okay, thank you. Months. Now you can see months is mentioned here as 6. It means it is integer. Real will be wrong. Exactly. There's no real. Real will be wrong here. End date, as the name implies, date time. And sport, again, you can see sport has a yes or no. So yes or no means a Boolean value. So in this manner, you will score 2 out of 2 very easily. Now explain the purpose of these SQL statements, structured query language statements. First statement, select some months from contract. And second statement is select count news from contract where news. See, sum, this is something that we have done, and it is there to find the total number of months for all contracts. See, sum, it's the same sum that we have been programming, but here database is giving me the option. So what will it do? To find the total number of months for all contracts. All, exactly. There is no condition. That's why it is going to be for all contracts. On the contrary, the second one is there to find the number of contracts that are subscribed to news. That can vary. The number of contracts that are subscribed to news. Okay? Any issues? Now, part D. Complete this. In this manner, you can easily score 3 out of 3. Complete this SQL statement to find the contract numbers of the subscribers that take both the news and sports service. So select statement. There were a few blanks and few values written. Select contract number from contract, because that was the requirement. We were supposed to find the contract number. So select statement, contract number from contract where the condition is news and sports service. It means news equals to true. A student can write, or another student can write simple news. That's perfectly okay. And definitely and was written for you, and sport, or sport equals to true. And in this manner, you can easily score 2 out of 2. So how was the learning journey? Enjoyed? Okay, Jazakallah khairan kasira for being a part of the learning journey. I hope that you have understood each and everything well. Keep working hard. like have faith in yourself. May Allah bless you. Please subscribe my channel, share with your friends and family so that they all are going to benefit from it. And if you want me to make a video on any topic, please do write in comments that I'll be making the video on that topic. And do not forget to watch the videos I've mentioned in my explanation to get the maximum benefits. Allah Hafiz. Take very good care of yourselves. May Allah bless you.